Hello everyone, and welcome to my classic Paladin guide. In this guide, I'm going to talk about the following things. The talent trees that I use when I'm leveling, but also at max level, the rotations, the pre-raid biz gear, and the hit cap that you need. First I will cover the talent tree that I use when I'm leveling a Paladin all the way up to max level. This is how my talent tree will look like when I hit level 60 as a Paladin. And if you're wondering at what level I pick each talent, then you can see it here from level 10 and all the way up to level 60. If you plan to solo level in the open world, then I would always recommend you to play as a Retribution Paladin, because you kill targets way faster compared to a Holy or Protection Paladin. When you reach level 60, I would recommend you to respec into a talent tree like this. The reason for this is because you get a bit more hit with a talent tree like this, and you need 9% hit in order to be hit capped at level 60. With this talent tree, you get 3 points into precision, and this will give you 3% hit. So now you just need to get another 6% hit and you will be hit capped. And if you follow my pre-raid biz gear, you will be hit capped if you collect all the gear. I'll get back into that later in the video. The protection specialization is also a decent way to level a Paladin. And this is how my talent tree will look like when I reach level 60. And when you reach level 60, you don't have to respec. If you're wondering at what level I pick each talent, you can see it right here. The downside of being a protection Paladin is that you don't have any taunt abilities. So if someone pulls aggro, it's going to be rough for you to get back the threat. The amazing thing about a protection Paladin is that you have a decent amount of AoE damage, so if you play in a spell cleaving team, for example with a lot of mages, it can be amazing to play as a Paladin because you have a decent amount of threat on all the targets. I don't recommend people to level as a Holy Paladin, because if all of a sudden you have to do some stuff solo in the open world, for example a quest, then it will take ages for you to kill a target. When you reach max level, this is how your talent tree could look like as a Holy Paladin. But if you get invited into a low level dungeon and you're told to be healer, then you don't really need to respec into the Holy specialization. You can heal dungeons just fine as a protection or retribution. Just make sure to bring some items with intellect. So if you find some items with intellect when you're leveling, you should not vendor these. Also because you will get your mount for free at level 40. Next up will be how I usually do my rotations for each specialization. And the first specialization will be Retribution. When I'm fighting a raid boss, I always activate my Seal of Command. Then I use a Judgment, and then I reactivate my Seal of Command. By this point, you can cast a Concentration, and then you just wait for your Judgment. When you have casted your Judgment, you reactivate your Seal of Command, and that's mainly how your rotation will be like. If you're allowed to apply a debuff on the target, then you can always use a Seal of the Crusade and then a Judgment. By doing this, you get the debuff on the target and this increases their holy damage taken. And all you need to do is an auto swing to keep this applied on the boss. Once you have applied the debuff, all you have to do is to get back to the normal rotation with Seal of Command. As a protection Paladin, I like to activate my Holy Shield before I pull the targets, because my Holy Shield increases my block chance by 30%. At the same time, I also use a seal. Usually I use Seal of Righteousness because this applies some holy damage to my auto attack. And if I would like to unleash a huge amount of burst damage, I can just use a Judgment. By this point, you should also have pulled all the monsters that you're meant to. And now it's time for you to use a concentration to do some AoE threat, followed by a Holy Shield to increase your defense. If it's a longer fight, or a fight where you struggle with your mana, then I would recommend you to use Seal of Wisdom instead. Because Seal of Wisdom will provide you and your group with a large amount of mana over time. Just make sure to unleash this with a Judgment and then reapply your Seal of Wisdom. As a Holy Paladin, you'll mainly be doing two different kinds of heals: Flash of Light and Holy Light. And it's important to not always use the max rank. Sometimes you might be low on mana, or you don't need to do that much of healing, and then you don't need to use the max rank. Maybe you should use rank 3 or 4 instead of rank 7 or 8. During the fight, you might not be able to stand still for a few seconds to cast a heal. If that's the case, I would recommend you to use a Holy Shock instead, because this is an instant heal. But it also requires way more mana compared to a Flash of Light, which pretty much do the same kind of healing. In the Holy Talent tree, you also get the talent Divine Favor, and when you activate this, your next Flash of Light, Holy Light or Holy Shock will be guaranteed a crit. And if you crit as a Holy Paladin, you get all the mana back. So I usually activate my Divine Favor followed by the highest rank of Holy Light, and this often allows me to get the target from a low amount of health to a high amount of health. Another reason why I like this combination is because there's a high chance that you will be able to start regen mana, and this is where the 5-second rule takes place. If you haven't casted anything for 5 seconds, you will start to regen mana. And as you got your target to a high amount of health, there's also a high chance that it won't die within the next 5 seconds. Next up is the Retribution pre-raid Biz gear. Most of this gear you will share with, for example, rogues, warriors and hunters, so it will be difficult to obtain some of these items. Some of these items is also extremely difficult to get because the drop chance is low. Your pre-raid Biz weapon is Arcanite Reaper, and this is crafted by blacksmithers. You can get the pattern in Lower Blackrock Spire. Like I mentioned, then most of your items is collected inside the dungeons, but some of them are also quest rewards in the different dungeons, so quests where you can choose a reward. And then you have your epic legs, and those are found in the open world, so those you can also buy on the auction house. Next up is the Protection pre-raid Biz gear. This headpiece can have a lot of different resistance, and the one you're aiming for is the one with fire resistance. Fire resistance you will need in Molten Core and also Onyxia. Some of your items is wall drops, rare and epic wise, but also crafted items, and then you have a few items that you collect inside dungeons and also quest rewards. But just remember that there's a high chance that you will not get a tank spot in a raid group, because in my opinion a warrior or a druid is so much better for tanking, mainly because they have taunt abilities, and that's not the case with the Protection Paladin. And some of the raid fights will require the tank to be able to taunt the target of the other tank. Last but not least, then we have the pre-raid Biz gear for Holy Paladin. As a Holy Paladin, there's not that many plate items with healing, and that's why you mix a lot of these items with, for example, cloth, leather, mail and plate items. Most of your items is cloth items, so if you're in a group with a priest, make sure that person is not needing on the same healing items as you. At the same time, some of these items also provides a lot of spell damage, and some of them are pre-raid Biz for example warlocks and mages. So if you plan to get your gear as fast as possible, I would definitely recommend you to make your own groups where you try to avoid other people that either need the healing items or the spellcaster items. Alright, so that's about it for me today. If you would like to see other class guides or how I make my gold from level 1 to 60 to ensure I get my mount as fast as possible, make sure to check out the channel. As always, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Peace.